So the first time that I heard that I had become schizophrenic was out of someone else. Someone else told me that I had become schizophrenic. So I was taking care of some errands, and then I went to Pete's Coffee in Hillcrest. I was sitting down, and then I saw a friend or a playmate who had become homeless, who was carrying around a bag and a mirror. He had lost his looks, he had lost everything. He was literally on the streets. So then I invited him for some coffee, and then, well, we sat down. He looked annoyed by me, let me tell you, but I invited him anyways because I used to have a crush on him. That's completely gone, by the way. Anyways, so we sat down, we got our coffees. He was acting sketchy. And, well, he sat down and he told me, I heard that you went schizophrenic. And I was just like, what are you talking about? He said, yeah, that I thought that magic was real, and that I don't know what else, and a bunch of other things. And that's when it dawned on me that the purpose of gangstalking is to make you schizophrenic. And they start singing victory and spreading the rumor right from the beginning because they are so sure that they're going to succeed at making me schizophrenic. So let me tell you, I have kind of a respect for gangstalking. Not anymore, because now I know everything that it entails and I know how they do it. But it's a process that took me years to understand. And let me tell you first, I mean, I consider myself one of the most mentally stable people that anyone is gonna ever meet. And even with that in mind, I was convinced of the craziest things, the craziest and most insane stories. They literally turned my reality upside down. Literally. Like, I believed that I would die. Not I would die, but that it was bad if I didn't drink enough water. I'm going to tell you a story about that. That story is kind of crazy. I believe that there was some ghosts following me. I believe that San Diego was filled with hypnotists. I believe that people were using me to freaking as a prostitute, that they were pimping me out, and that they would freaking hypnotize me to forget. A lot of crazy stories. It is kind of amazing. Well, I loved it. I loved it. At the moment, it was like really unpleasant, but I just love all this stuff again because it's a reality that is so absurd, and that every time that it came to a conclusion, that every tiny story came to a conclusion, I used to have like a psychological orgasm. It was insane. To me, it was like kind of the greatest adventure I have ever had, to be honest. But it was destroying me in the process, which is why I had to stop. Which is, I think that's why I'm not mad about it, because it was insane. And my life, I can have all these crazy stories to talk about, and all these experiences, and all these crazy schizophrenic experiences that were a reality for me, for a little bit. And I am thankful for that. And I learned how to use my nervous system in ways that I didn't know how to use it before, and that pretty much is kind of kept secret, to people who kind of become schizophrenic and then they come back from it. But gangstalking does have the power of making someone schizophrenic. It truly, truly, truly does. For a moment, I was convinced of all those things. I was convinced that they were using direct energy weapons on me. I was convinced that everyone was following me. I was convinced that freaking headlights, were meant for me, turned signals, freaking, a lot of things, a lot of things, But the thing is that this schizophrenia wasn't natural. It wasn't produced by me. It was produced by them. Gangstalkers do have the capacity of making a completely sane person completely insane. It's true. It's freaking true. These techniques have the power of making you perceive reality in a way that fucks you the most. I can't believe it. So I respect it for that, but this is why I think it's a total BS. So first, it requires you to be monitored 24/7. So the moment you isolate yourself, everything goes away. Everything, because they have to be constantly and consistently keeping you connected. I'm going to put a link on what connected means, and I have another video to make on the meaning of connected. But technically, being connected is a state of mind where the schizophrenia is real, because since it's made, it goes in and out. But I think that with time, schizophrenia becomes more permanent, because this is the only time, I was in the homeless shelter for a year, and they kept me connected most of the day for that entire year. And it took about 3 months, more like 4 months, for the voices to go away. I still feel the sensations, but they're slowly going away. So for someone to be made permanently schizophrenic, it requires years of constant gangstalking, constantly gangstalking the person, consistently and continuously, 24/7, every day, for years, for it to be permanent. Even after a year, it took only a couple of months for it to go away. And I'm gonna stay away from it for as long as I possibly can, because that means that we're gonna have to do everything all over again if I happen to fall into that again, which I doubt it, because I'm too busy now. But yeah, dude. So that's why I respect it, because it does have the power of making someone schizophrenic. It's totally possible, regardless of how mentally stable you might be. Now, but the downside is that it requires years and years and years of constant work. I would say that, like, in about 5 years of continuous work, it would probably take a whole year to get to be completely off of it, or maybe 2. But to completely deem someone insane, I think it would take like about 6 years of constant and continuous 24/7. From the beginning, from day one to the day that someone is completely insane, I would say it would take about 12 years of someone to be completely surrounded by gang stalkers and being monitored 24/7, like 12 years. In about 12 years, they can deem someone completely insane. 12 years. Maybe less, depending on the mental strength of the person. But yeah, about 12 years is the timeline, at least, that it would take to convince me. But the way that I got out of it was by raising my self-esteem. Because the whole gang stalking is about lowering your self-esteem to make you believe other things, to make you believe that you are not, that you're trash. So they have to completely convince you that you're trash first before you become suggestible. Because when you don't know who you are, they can steer you in any direction. How did I raise my self-esteem when I was getting gang stalked? One, I took a Coursera work on how to become a cybersecurity analyst. I'm still doing it. I'm doing it at a slower pace than I thought. But then I began washing my car. I fixed little things on my car. It just gave me a purpose. And then I just focused on studying my course, and I forgot about didn't forget about gang stalking, but it made me not to focus on it. And then I was raising my self-esteem, and then the higher it was, the easier it was me to see through the veil, through the hallucinations, through the false narrative that was being imposed on me. I stopped paying attention to the gang stalkers, and I started paying attention to myself and to the coursework. And that's how I got out of it. Is by doing something that would raise my self-esteem. When this happened, I still have access to my self-esteem. I mean, to my subconscious mind via the voices that I was hearing. And then, yeah, so the voices were still antagonistic, and that's what they were telling me. We are gonna tell the gang stalkers to keep the target from studying anything, because growing their mind and exercising their mind is the way to get out of it. And that's what the target shouldn't be doing. So if you're a target, you have to be working out your intellect. Your intellect. I have always throughout my life been continuously learning something new, and the moment I stopped was the time where when my downfall began. When gang stalking became more powerful. But then I began studying something that interested me, and anything gang stalking just became trash. It made me lose respect for it. And yeah, so if you're getting gang stalked, just learn something new, take a course, something that is gonna stimulate your mind, and it's gonna help you raise your self-esteem, because you're gonna feel more capable. And then you're gonna see through the false narrative, and you're gonna be able to understand that gang stalking is a way of making you schizophrenic. But like all psychological attacks, they do their damage over time. The worst thing, it's like narcissistic abuse, is that it leaves scars that are very deep, but that leave no evidence. And people only see the remnants of you, the aftermath, but they don't see the war that you have gone through. They only see the damaged person. But all of this is reversible. And the psychological damage that gang stalking does, you can, once you understand it, it starts healing. And let me tell you, if you understand it fully, the scars, they heal immediately. And they're not scars anymore. They are power stones, and because of the lack of a better word, but they're they're treasures because they give you more knowledge on what can be done to someone, and you can use this to help other people. Like I am doing now. I am using all these these tips of knowledge of psychological abuse or psychological trickery, sorcery, witchcraft, whatever the hell you want to call it. I want to keep it from the most reality-based perspective, which is why I'm staying away from the words demonic or spiritual or satanic or evil, whatever. But it's practically what it is. It's witchcraft. It's santeria. It's black magic. But I want to keep talking about it from the perspective of how it's more easily comprehensible to people who do not understand the concept of spiritual attacks, of spiritual warfare. All spiritual warfare is pretty much psychological abuse that hurts you, but it's spiritual because it hurts your spirit. Also, I have a vocabulary word that is going to be completely different from anything else that you have heard out there that it has to do with spirit. But it's more intertwined with your nervous system. Gangstalking taught me how to use my nervous system in a way that only people who have studied a lot of spiritualism are able to manage it. Like, for example, I can move the pain around, be it induced by gangstalkers or not. When something hurts, I can fizz it out. The pain's still there, but my brain stops acknowledging it, and I just completely disregard it. It's freaking crazy. I'm gonna explain all these things to you, with hopes that it helps you manage the pain when you're getting gangstalked, because gangstalking produces toothaches, produces a lot of pain. It produces sudden bursts of pain that can only be attributed to direct energy weapons. That's why so many people feel that they're being attacked with direct energy weapons, or that they can hear their thoughts. I'm gonna make videos about the involuntary tongue movement, about how sometimes it feels like the voices that you hear in your head are connected to your throat, and that your throat so vocalizes the voices. It's freaking insane. Anyways, this is it for today because I don't want this video to take 1,000 years to freaking upload. All right, I'll talk to you later. Bye.